Okay, guys, welcome to the call. I'm going to turn it over to my wife. Are you going to do the whole thing, babe? Sure. Okay, I'll turn it over to Lisa in a little bit. I think what I'll do is I'll do the first couple of these points around the outside, sure, and then you can go down through that. Lisa and I have been doing these. The law. We just found out today there's some extra videos, so we're going to go back and do them again. We're going to do these laws again, and I don't know about you guys, but I've been putting them into practice. Our business is growing like it did back in 2011. I just got back from Ohio with Chris and Jason, KJ, John Rankins. We've got people that are exposing this to people every single day while working full-time jobs. So today I was on an elite distributor call with Seth Mulder, and he said a couple things that really touched me. He said no matter where or who. Hey, what's up, Ben? How you doing, man? If your camera goes up, Ben, you're still here with us. You just mute your line when you jump on. Good to see you, Ben. Sorry to get to see you while we were in Ohio, brother. But what I was saying is Seth is one of my favorite people because what he spoke on is who he is. And today when I was thinking about what he was going through, and and as we talk about the law of modeling, he talked about how we position ourselves to be able to live with passion and to have a vision. Okay, and this law of modeling, I love it. The first thing that he says, and I'm going to share some more things at the end when Lisa gets done. So if you're still on, hopefully you'll get that. I'm going to talk a little bit about things that are going to be coming that are going to blow your guys' mind. I was on a couple elite calls today that, just to be honest with you, literally were mind blowing. And so I was completely blown away by what I heard and what I saw. But like I said, back to my original point. I'm sorry, I got distracted there a little bit. Forgive me. Is that John Maxwell said it's hard to improve when you have no one but yourself to follow. And he said, Stanford said that now you guys have all heard me say this. Chris has heard me say this a million times. Most people are visual learners. And he said 89% of people are visual learners, 10% audio, and then 1% are other senses. And he said, people do what they see. So, and this is what really impacted me. And I'm just going to be transparent with you guys tonight. Hopefully this touches some of you guys and makes an impact. He said, and this was just great. He said, when they hear you talk, but you don't walk the walk, you confuse people and eventually you lose people. Think about that again. He said, when they hear you talk, but you don't walk the walk, you will confuse people and eventually you lose them. And Chris and I talk about this. I was very transparent with him the last couple of days. I told him, say, look, I screwed up a lot in the past. I'm not the same person I was even 4 months ago or 3 months ago, because these teachings have impacted our life. Hey, Jenny, how are you? And you look nice. These teachings have impacted both me and Lisa's life, and that's why we're going to go back through them and do them again. We didn't even know that there were special videos that we were supposed to get, so I sent an email today just a little bit ago, and they're going to get back to me tomorrow. So then he said, if you want to impact people, talk about your loss. And so, and that's the first, to be open and honest. I wear this bracelet that's open. It says open, broken, and free. And so I've screwed up a lot. I've made a lot of mistakes, but I've learned from my mistakes. One of the things he said is life is more taught than caught. If it's not caught, it's shallow. Feel the experience from failure and make changes to be better. Look, whether you're, and this was one other thing he said that really got me. He said a pint, he saw the sign that said a pint equals a gallon. And as he got closer to it, he said, a pint of example equals a gallon of advice. Get that, okay? A pint of example equals a gallon of advice. So as you lead your business, and Chris can tell you, we all have done things wrong. And look, this, I love this. Seth said this today in our elite distributor call. This is happening with or without us. It's like everybody says, you know, I got people that joined other companies and left and joined other companies. They're all coming back trying to bombard us with all of this stuff because they know they can't compete with us. And they're going to try to, but think back to the old example of a Band-Aid. Why did they call it a Band-Aid? Okay? Because it's branded and it was first. Just like when you blow your nose, they call it a tissue. It's not or Kleenex. It's a tissue. So guys, we're first. Doesn't matter. Whatever happens. You know, I sat with, I have a new guy, John, and I don't know if John's on here tonight because there's a lot of people on here and I can't see who's on and who's not without looking down, scrolling down through. But here's what I want you to think about. I've been introducing John to a lot of people and just listening to what people say. I listened to Dr. Benny Maniscalco. If you haven't watched his video on YouTube, watch it on Nerve 1 and Nerve 2. He told John he has 3,000 patients on the product. And he said, John, I have looked and researched everything. Why would I put my name to something after 40 years in medicine if it wasn't significant? So just like every other thing pales in comparison to what you have, don't worry about people telling you no. Learn from your mistakes. Guys, these launch calls, if you're not doing launch calls, you are losing momentum. I just said this. I kind of was looking at the numbers. I would say between the last 2 days, I think I've done a total of 5 launch calls. Over 40 people, 40 guests, not 40 new people or 40 people that have heard the information. 40 guests heard the information. And I just told you guys, if you were on late, my wife and I are having Jean DeLucia do a call for us on Saturday at 10 o'clock. And then at 10:45, I'm going to do a webinar. So whoever we're on that wants to hear the rest of the information can jump on. And those of you who are doing launch calls, I see KJ's on. He just had 7 people on a launch call. Those are people he can get on to the next step. If you haven't been through the launch call training, the phase 1 training, get it figured out, guys. Get it figured out. I'm probably going to tell you guys that I want to share one more thing with you guys, and then I'm going to turn it over to Lisa. So, honey, if you can come over here, that'd be great. I want to share something with you from a teaching that I was listening to today, and it's a biblical teaching. It was on Sunday. Okay, so I'm just going to let you guys know some things that I'm doing that I feel like I need to share with you guys. Okay, and I hope you guys, it doesn't offend any of you. I'm sorry if it does, but I'm going to always do what I feel led to do. Okay, and I believe that John said this, and Lisa will share with this. You have to surround yourself around leaders, and Lisa and I have surrounded ourselves around leaders. I got the privilege of teaching nutrigenomics to my church the other night, and I've just been bombarded by people wanting to know what it is more and wanting to get on the products. About almost $800 worth of orders in the last 2 days. So here's what I learned, and this is why I'm going to tell you guys. I'm going to work hard Monday through Saturday, and Sunday I'm not going to do anything, and here's why I'm not going to do that. And hopefully this encourages you. And this is where the law of modeling comes into effect to me. It hit me with the balance of what I heard on this teaching. And then I'm going to turn it over to Lisa. He used an example, and this is a pastor named Robert Morris. He used an example of fast foods. Okay. Number one, we shouldn't be eating them anyway, but he said, and he said, I looked at Consumer Report, and he said, he looked at, hey, Stacy, he looked at all of the fast food chains. And he said the average income of the fast food chains were somewhere on a gross of about $1.2 million a year. Okay. Now we all know that there's a huge overhead and all this stuff in Burger King and McDonald's, and we know people shouldn't be eating that stuff, but they do because it's convenient, right? So here's what he said. He said, does anybody, and if anybody wants to say it, you can say it, but I know I'm not going to hear you because I got you muted, but there's one fast food chain that's not open on Sundays, and it's Chick-fil-A. And he said they do $10 million a year. 1 million open on Sunday, 10 million not open on Sunday. So I see that as modeling. So imagine if we model, and this is funny, in the extra teachings, Fred Graves said that we should model Jesus Christ. And so Truett Cathy, the founder of Chick-fil-A, said Quantranon. Said, you know, Q came on right as I was saying that. And he said that I give my people a day of rest on Sundays. And he said, I don't want them texting about business. I want them to completely rest. Recharge. 1 million to 10 million. Think about it. Lisa and I are doing it. I've already told her I'm not going to do any launch calls. I'm not going to do anything except respect. Okay, so hopefully that give you guys some touch. I'll be back at the end of this. I'm going to let Lisa come in and take over. Here she is, you guys.
Hello. So he actually did really do the majority of the law of modeling, but the bottom line really is find a mentor. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Who are you going to pattern your life after? He says that some of the best words that a person can say as a leader or a mentor is follow me. And really, exactly, the thing that came to me is Paul says, follow me as I follow Christ. But with the law of modeling in business, follow somebody who's been there before you. Oh, gosh. Can't we turn my camera off?
Go.
You want good qualities. You want to look at the modeler or the role mentor qualities of being a worthy example. They've got a proven experience, a proven track record. They've been successful, productive. Why would you want to follow somebody who's not been successful, who's not been where you're wanting to go? And that's something else Fred Graves always said. He found somebody that has what he wants. He does what they do or did to get there. And also a good role model is also somebody who's very teachable, which to me goes back to being a humble person. You know, Mike was talking about when John Maxwell said that, you know, if you want to impact other people, you talk about your losses. You talk about your mistakes. You're transparent. If you want to impress others, John Maxwell says, you talk about your successes. What was going on? What did you do that was so good? You're boasting on yourself. You're boasting on your successes, but people really need to know that you are human. It's great to have a good role model, somebody that's successful and stuff, but if they don't share their brokenness, they don't share their mistakes, it gives you, or at least me, it gives a sense of, I can't do what they did. They're really good, and I can't live up to that standard. They seem super surreal almost. But when you're open and you're honest and humble about the path that you've gone that wasn't quite successful on your way to being successful, then you're more real. You're more transparent, and people will have a much greater respect over you as well. He used the expression, you know, walk the walk. Don't just talk the talk. because eventually, if you're just talking the talk, your talk will walk, meaning it's going to go away. There's no substance in there. But people are going to watch what you do. It reminds me of that expression growing up, do as I say, not as I do. How much respect do you have for people that you do, or you hear them saying, this is what you should do, this is what you need to do. You know, they're giving you advice, but you look at their lives and you're like, you're not living it. How much respect are you going to have for that person? You know, that's what he was referring to, that eventually the walk or the talk will walk.
And he also said that you look to humble people, and I know she's going to get to this, but one of John's mentors was John Wooden, and I'm thinking who could have a better mentor, and I know she's going to talk about this wave thing. I thought it was kind of cool, but I'll let her keep going. But he said your first step is not to lead, but to be successful. People follow successful people, and you know, Lisa and I have always said that even though we've messed up in this business, we've never done it, but we know that as we continue to move on forward. I'm sorry, you can hear my dogs. My neighbor's got like these little dogs that bark all the time. We laugh at them all the time, but you want to surround yourself around successful people that are pushing forward, people that are doing the things that you want, as you heard Lisa say earlier. So I'll let you go. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. So he said that the principles of modeling that he learned from John Wooden was pretty much what I just said. People watch what you do. And his example was when he was leaving, I guess John just like stood there and watched him, waited for him to get in the car. And as he turned around, he saw him still standing there watching him and waved at him.
Yeah, he said,
so
here's what he said. He said his friend Dan took him to meet Dr. John. And he said, whenever you leave him, he said, always turn around and look, because Mr. Wooden will always be waving. He said, every time I've met with him, he's always waving. And so tell what he meant by that and what John learned about that.
So it made him feel important that he waited for him, made sure he got in the car, you know, he's safe, whatever. And he waved goodbye to him. So it made John feel that he was valued. He was important. And it actually reminds me of my mother. My mother is notorious for this. She will stand there and wait. Make sure you get in the car. She won't, you know, just let you walk out the door and leave. She stands there and she actually waits, watches, and adds in. Don't forget to put on your seatbelt and use your turn signals. But again, it's because she loves me and it instills value in me. The second thing he said he learned from John was with the wave lesson is that your actions do speak louder than words. We already talked about that, so I'm not going to go on that again. And then he also said that you should acknowledge your mentors. And he encouraged to have an attitude of gratitude. He said, you know, those who have been your mentors that have really kind of instilled in you values. And he says the highest value that a leader can have is truly a moral authority. So that's the highest kind of authority. And that's what's earned by our walk, not by our talk. And so he encouraged them to just send a little thank you card, basically.
Said don't email them.
Right.
He said don't text them.
One other thing that he kind of commented on that really sort of hit me was, you know, you surround yourself with those people who can instill value into your life, who've been where you want to go, who have those things that, you know, you do. You don't go to a person, you've heard the expression, those who can do and those who can't teach. You know, it's kind of a joke, and sometimes that's how it is. They're talking it by teaching as opposed to living it, demonstrating it, and doing it. But one thing that he said was to never discuss your problems with somebody who is incapable of contributing to the situation. Someone who can't help you process, help you think things truly through. You don't want somebody who's going to sit there and agree with you that it's a horrible situation, or who's going to just let you go down a rabbit trail and not come to a solution of a problem. A true mentor to model is to have somebody that will speak life into you, who can help you resolve your concerns and your situations. So, and then the one last thing I want to comment on is that people forget what you say, but they won't forget how you make them feel. It's that, actions speak louder than words. Think about it this way. What came to me is, you're arguing with your spouse. Okay, we're being transparent here. I can't remember the details of an argument, but I can remember how I feel with that argument. I might not remember the exact words that were used or whatever, but I remember the emotion that I feel. And that's what John Maxwell was talking about, that people will forget exactly what you say, but they won't forget how you make them feel. And who is it? I don't remember, is Brandon or Fred that says, what is they're saying? Facts tell and emotions, stories, emotions, how you feel is what sells.
Yeah.
Facts tell, but emotions, stories sell.
Yep.
So that's all I wanted to wrap it up with.
And so think about this as we close. And I'm gonna. I know we've got a little bit of time left here. We've got about 7 minutes, but one of the really cool things he said to demonstrate gratitude to people. One of the things that I really like is that when you're really passionate for people, one of my good friends, Rich Scott, always says, love God, love people, and live with passion. So my encouragement to you guys today is just find mentors in your life that walk the walk and talk the talk.
Don't just talk the talk.
Right. But do both. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting at. And so what I want to do is just real quick is I want to come on and put the call number, and then I want to just share a couple things that is going to happen at convention. And I'm just going to get you guys excited. A little excited, even for some of you that aren't gone yet, that haven't decided to go with her. And we just signed up a guy the other day to go. So tonight and you guys can see it there on the screen tonight and if you go to the Facebook page, or if you go to bigbluecalendar.com, you can click it on, and it's going to be live on Facebook. If you don't have Facebook, I think you're in trouble. But which a lot of people probably don't. But I'll just tell you this. Darren's going to do a once a month President's Call on a Thursday. That's why I had my call a little bit early tonight. But let me explain something to you. On this same link right here that you're on today, on Saturday, as I told you, at 10:45, okay, in the morning, I'm going to do a webinar after. And guys, the reason we're doing a launch call is because we don't want you to think that we're just doing launch calls. If you're a Pro 3 or above and you're not doing launch calls for your teams, guys, you're going to hear about it at convention, okay? You're going to hear about it in convention. You're going to hear 60 people in 30 days. You're going to hear about it. It's launch 60, okay? Team True Blue, we found out, outgrew the company last month. So let me tell you what's going to happen. If you don't have paddles in the water right now, you're going to miss momentum, because I'm telling you what they're doing at convention. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not allowed to talk about it, but it has had me fired up. I have my 10 in motion sheet ready to rock and roll. If you don't have a 10 in motion sheet and you don't know what that is, I'm just telling you, get one from your upline. If you need one, send me an email at protandemishealth@gmail.com. I'll send you one. Get on launch calls. Start them with your team. I'm going to share this last example before we go. There's going to be stuff that's going to happen at convention that was going to blow your mind. Okay. I've already been crazily affected by what I've heard, but I want you guys to remember that I thought about this today. Steve Knock, who's a Pro 7 up in the Cleveland area, traveled down to Toledo on Saturday with a guest. Okay. And I just got this text for him. Steve is not in Team True Blue. And I wanted to read this text to you guys that Steve sent me. It was just incredible. He said, absolutely, I'm glad that my daughter's plans got pushed and I was able to come. The training was very good. You've gotten amazing at teaching. I can tell you've been doing quite a lot of these trainings, that you've carried yourself and kept right on task and ended right at noon. I would love to have that slide presentation and this launch call script. So I sent him to Steve. He did his first launch call tonight, and here's what he said. He said, hey, brother, we did our first launch call tonight for a brand new teammate, 6 attendees, guests on the call. Thank you, Team True Blue, for this training. So, and you can see here, he sent me the call log so that you guys can kind of see the call log that he has on there. You can see it. He's got the numbers and people who were on the call. So I can tell you, if you go to Team True Blue, you can listen to it. I'm going to let you guys jump off of here because the president's call is going to start in about 3 minutes. But guys, thank you so much to all of you for being on this call on Thursdays. Thank
you.
We will obviously not have a call next Thursday, so I will reschedule it because we will be at convention. Those of you who are going, there's a lot of stuff going to be happening next week at convention. Super, super excited about Mike. We will miss you, my friend. You aren't missing Denver. Let's schedule some launch calls, me and you, and let me do them for you. I can promise you that I'll make it happen for you. So, guys, God bless you all. Thank you guys for coming, being on the call. This is a wrap. God bless you guys. Have a good night. All right.